Hi guys, my name is Crystal. I am freaking scared to be here right now. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like the Lord has pushed me to do this, and it's completely out of my comfort zone and not really what I want to do. But I'm gonna trust He has a plan with this, so here I am. Um, I was originally coming on here to be able to discuss what pushed me into making my last song, Hang On, because so many people wanted to know a little more about it and understand the reasoning I even wrote it. And I know the video was pretty scary looking, trust me, like that was the whole point. Because it also represents how you feel inside. So I guess you could say this is like kind of like a podcast I'm doing, but here I am. I'll see if I can somehow link the song to this podcast video. And if you want to listen to it, I'd love your support. So, this is going to be talking about the song and like the inspiration behind it, but it's also going to be a self reflection type of, guess you could call it meditation in a way. So, with this song, I honestly believe everybody has their own shadows within them, including me. And it's up to us to face them. Here's the crazy part. I went through a recent chapter in my life where I learned people project due to their own insecurities. I think everybody does it without even knowing it. And I've had to go through quite a battle to teach myself that it's not always you, and to not try to fix or heal others when tempted to. That's not my job. That's God's job. We all have our own problems, and by trying to help people, it's easy to hurt yourself in the process of it. Everybody has to take ownership for their own actions and choices, even when they make wrong or bad ones. This was part of my let them experience. And okay, ready to get even more crazier? Something else that's really hit me hard from this last chapter of my life is I do believe that there are certain fragments in life where we go through these cuts because life is mirroring back to us what we need to learn within ourselves. As you see from my music, I've experienced my own trauma myself. And after that experience, I met someone. And when me and this person that I had these awakenings about had met, we instantly clicked. And I think what happened is we had quickly formed a trauma connection, not a trauma bond. There was no abusing in this relationship. It was a trauma connection. We just got each other on a whole nother level. And it was comfortable. It brought us so close that it felt magnetic. But this wasn't healthy. And that's not a foundation love is supposed to be built on. Yes, you get each other on a whole nother level, but that shouldn't be what leads to a connection, especially if you want true reciprocated trust. And I feel what happened is at some point in this connection, I feel like I healed. And I think it's because he was mirroring back to me the same problems I was dealing with. And I do feel like I ended up healing. And I think a lot of the healing happened the moment I started actually pushing my music out instead of just keeping it to myself. You know how they say writing it down helps? Well, that's my form of writing. And God's always put this desire in my heart to want to be a songwriter since growing up. And this was my way of doing it. And it feels so great. And if I can help others, if they're dealing with the same battles, then I'm glad to, because it's also part of my nature to want to help people. It's always been my nature, and I've accepted that. I just don't let it hurt me anymore. Clearly, every now and then it still slips, but nobody's perfect, right? Music has always been my way of having a voice. And honestly, that cover photo you see, that was for me. And now that I'm in a whole different place, mentally and physically, I'm I'm using it to help others, and I think that's just a beautiful thing. And I will always have it there as a reminder for myself too, because we're always going to run into moments that we question ourselves or just don't believe in ourselves enough. We all do it. Okay, so all this to go back to talking about my let them experience and how the world works in mysterious ways like a mirror sometimes. Connecting to my let them experience, I had to allow myself to be backstabbed by somebody I love because I recognized everything I was hearing was all projection from someone who was wounded and not healed from their own trauma and insecurities. In this experience, society would call this experience an avoidant who ran away. But avoidants are just wounded lost souls that need to do their own inner healing. In this recent chapter of my life, I thought I found love, true love, and not breadcrumbs, only to realize it was not healthy. And I truly believe what happened is I grew. This is how beautiful the life of this extraordinary mirror works. Listen to this. I learned to love somebody with their trauma because in my own mind, I had learned to already love myself fully with my trauma and all. We wouldn't be who we are today if we didn't experience it. I wouldn't be the strong person I am today if I didn't go through my encounters and rough patches. But I also think part of what helped heal me was learning to love someone with their trauma and flaws and all. It taught me how to love my flaws and trauma and all. I also used to be very bad at being very hard on myself. And here's the thing, I didn't even have that awareness. I had no idea until the salon I had joined. I joined their apprentice program and someone told me. And I was like, no, I'm not. Psh, psh, you are. But they were right. And it's what led me to be such a perfectionist, which I learned to use as a strength, not a weakness, as I got older. And I became softer on myself too. Okay, so going back to the let them experience, I'm just jumping around everywhere. But you know what? If it's meant to come out that way, it's just meant to. I'm just letting it flow, baby. So we both have trauma. One is healed already, the other one is not. But what happens when one outgrows the other? What happens when one points a finger at the other from their projections? And what you thought was trust wasn't really there because it wasn't a healthy foundation in the first place. Or you carry someone emotionally for so long from their own wounding that you get betrayed because you try to help heal them and they get used to you carrying them. This person loved me for potential, but maybe I was also in love with potential. But potential is not unconditional love. I have no doubt about it. Me and this person were meant to live through this together. I see the bigger picture now. I do believe they're on their own spiritual self-love journey to learn to love their trauma, or at least accept it and not let it hold them back anymore from feeling peace and happiness the way I feel I have. But I've also been taking this time to love on myself too, because I think that this trauma we experience connects to something way deeper. And after taking this time to gain clarity, I think it's self-abandonment or self-betrayal, which for me related to growing up not knowing how to have my own boundaries to protect myself. So I always got walked on, and I let myself go through that because I didn't know any better. And because of that, I felt like I never really had a voice. And I think that's what led me to music. Also, some other clarity that's come through to me throughout this time is having control, or somebody having control, is not protection. And it's not like I was even looking for protection. At least I didn't think I was. But I definitely loved this feeling that when I would get in a relationship, I would feel safe. The irony. There's a big difference, though. This is something else I learned about myself after God had removed me. Having control is not protection for you. This is how amazing this extraordinary mirror of life works. I learned to fully love him, trauma and all, flaws and all, which taught me how to love myself fully. For that, I will forever be grateful we met. And this is the first time I'm truly happy being alone, feeling fulfilled on my own. I do have times I get lonely still, because I'm human too, of course. But if I didn't go through this experience, I wouldn't have rised up into this, what I call boss energy, the way I am today. I can't tell you how liberating it feels. I may have felt like I was thrown out into the wolves, feeling discarded, but it pushed me to really stand the test, to show myself how much I have my own back and grown, and will always be there for myself. This girl has her own apartment now, first ever, my own first cat with my daughter on the ride. We switched districts for the first time ever to live in a whole new area I have never lived before, and we love it. And I get to decorate everything how I want it to be. I get to live my dream of playing with my artsy creative side with beauty and music. I just feel so free. And God will have you make hard decisions sometimes. But when you listen to that small voice, he rewards you with peace that makes no sense through the chaos. I have never, ever experienced anything extraordinary like this before, where it felt like what I wanted was not what God wanted for me. And we don't understand in the moment, and you want to get mad at him. But it always comes together later on in the end, especially when he rewards you with peace. I have also never, ever wanted to marry someone so much before in my life. But what I realized is, was I a chaser? And this is the first time in my life that I feel like I am not a chaser. And I am so freaking proud of myself, you guys. Because in a way, that's seeking validation. Seeking to find that someone else values you when you should be valuing yourself. And if they don't, that's not your problem. You just take that beautiful face, soul, and time and take it to where you know it will actually be appreciated, even if that's by yourself. I don't think people realize how important self-love is. People try to twist it that it's arrogance. It's not. Society labels like narcissists and avoidance. They act like they have a big ego, when secretly they have a very low self-esteem. And then they project, some knowingly, some unknowingly. But then they project these wounds on people, and if you're like me, where you had to learn to not take it personally, no wonder our world is falling apart so much. I do believe that God gives everybody gifts and talents. And maybe you're like me. Maybe he gave you these gifts and talents to help you heal. If you're here, still listening, then maybe you have some healing to do too, and you can relate. And that's okay. The fact that you recognize it is the first step. And if no one has told you, I'm going to tell you personally, I am so freaking proud of you. To get to that first step is incredible, because it means you're awakened. You see reality, and you're not willing to live in a facade. Nor are you pointing fingers at others. I'm just so freaking proud of you because I get it. And look at me. Like, this is a big deal for me to be here doing basically like a podcast right now. That's what it kind of feels like. And it was honestly scary for me. But now that I'm doing it, I'm like, what is there to be afraid of? I was so scared to put my face out here, even though my face is not there. And that's why I opened up to it. But hey, God works us in small steps, right? Now, back to how society thinks. I have now undergone a narcissistic relationship and now an avoidant relationship. Almost a full decade of these battles. Maybe even more if we want to include friendships that I've outgrown. Both toxic, both teaching me a lot about control and boundaries, which connects to self-respect, which is self-love. These encounters have mirrored back to me. I need to stop trying to control the outcome for things and just let things be. Because if people are not meant to be in your life, there's a reason. And you have to let them walk out when they want to or need to walk out. That is my cat. I don't know if you heard him. He's being a little needy right now. His name is Bourbon, and he's a gray little cute little, what's he called again? A Scottish fold. He was actually born on Christmas Day, which is very unique. So he's my little gift to life. And here's the other extraordinary part. You know how I said the world works in mysterious ways? Well, God works in mysterious ways. And he gave me this cat shortly before this betrayal happened. And this betrayal that happened, I truly believe it was his self-sabotage. And self-sabotage happens when we lack self-love and don't know who we are. And I think I grew up self-sabotaging all the time, actually, when I look back. Because I didn't know what I truly deserved. You think you do, but you don't. I think because of that, I always settled for breadcrumbs, getting less than what I deserve. And now I'm in a whole different spot of knowing what I deserve. I know if I'm settling or not now. And because I stood the test of having my own back, proving myself how much I've grown with that self-love when I felt discarded, is what led me to that boss energy I talked about earlier. It led me to feel this confidence I've been always longing for my whole life. And it is so liberating and so eye-opening. When I found out confidence is not arrogance. Just like how I said there's good confrontation and bad confrontation, there's healthy confidence and bad confidence. What our world lacks is having a middle ground, meeting in the middle. Ego is not bad, but you can make it bad. If I'm gonna share some advice though, is that don't hold resentment toward these people that gave you these experiences. For one thing, it's only gonna hold you back, and then you'll end up falling in possibly a trauma connection like what I went through. But you also need to recognize that people do the best they can with the knowledge they have at the time. I heard this in a quote a while back and it really resonated with me ever since. But it's true. Like, how can you hold resentment towards someone who doesn't know better? Because what they grew up with may be different than what you grew up with. And what you think may be common sense may not actually be common sense to someone else. All right. I think that's all I have to say. Just thank your wounds, thank your battles, thank your challenges. Because we may not always understand them, why they have to happen in the moment. But when you are rewarded with peace in the end, it's so worth the journey. And you are going to thank God for it because it only makes you stronger. Take it from me. I'm a survivor. And we should be able to say we are proud of ourselves. Say it. Say, I am proud of myself. Because you should be. Don't try to dim it down. This is a big deal. It's okay to admit this is a big deal and you are a big deal. Own it. We need more of that in this world. Okay, so that is all. I'm going to end this with a joke. Lord, may this next relationship that comes into my life please be my soulmate. I'm kind of tired now. Bye, guys. You have a great rest of your day, okay? Maybe I'll do more of this. Who knows? Bye.